I'm recording, so you can start whenever.
Mid-sip. Wait a minute.
I was waiting for it.
Need my glass of tea
I'm
here.
recording already. Wet the whistle. But I can't whistle, so.
It's a
Bertie
fallacy.
fact. Don't make fun of me. Welcome into Just the Tip, a fantasy football podcast. We are your hosts. We got Ryan the Tagless Haynes. I am Mac Disfatt-Bidge, and we have a guest host of sorts, Kyle. Producer Kyle, up on the screen now. How you guys doing?
I'm doing great. I just turned my camera on this week. I forgot to the other week, so.
Oh, appreciate
Yeah.
it. Appreciate it. We had some of the voiceover, man behind the curtain, behind the screen, that is. Regan is out moving, so he is busy this week doing adulting things, so good for him, I guess. Ryan, man, how was your weekend?
Mixed. My daughter took a little bit of a spill today. Banged the top of her nose on a table outside. Actually, it was at the 99. So yeah,
You don't want to come back for more of that.
No. We were like, listen, kids eat free. Sox just won. Like, our food was coming. The waitress was coming with our food. Just got my beer.
No.
Bam. Too much dancing. My wife put on like heels for her, little frozen Elsa heels. So she just wanted to dance, and it wasn't fun.
Ouch.
So
Doesn't sound like it, man.
Ice up, kid.
Hopefully
she's doing okay
bounces
though.
back.
She's a Haynes. She's got a hard head and a hard nose.
She won't be on the IR, that's for sure.
No, we're not Regan's over here.
Not at all. Just want to say thank you to the audience out there for listening and subscribing to us. We got some more followers, some more downloads, so we really appreciate it. Keep spreading our tips around. Hopefully you enjoy them. You can slide in our DMs on our socials at Just the Tip FFP. And you can find us on Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon Podcasts, and watch us on YouTube at Just the Tip, a fantasy football podcast. Leave us a comment. Let us know how you're doing this weekend. What is today? The 20th, September 20th, Monday night. We got Detroit Lions against the Green Bay Packers tonight. So keep that in mind when we're going through these ranking recaps that those guys have not played yet. So we're sure a few of them will make it into the top rankings there. So just keep that in mind when we're going through this recap. You guys got anybody going tonight?
A couple shares of DeAndre Swift. So
Yeah,
I think
same.
I need 10 out of him in one league, and the other two I think I already have to win. So just icing on the cake, baby.
There you go.
And I got nobody on either of those teams.
Nobody? No. I got DeAndre Swift and one where I need him to get like 20 points and outscore Crosby. And then I have Aaron Jones and another, but I'm going against DeAndre Swift. So as long as Aaron Jones outscores DeAndre Swift and DeAndre Swift scores like 26 points, I'll be all right. So we'll see how that works out. It's fantasy season, baby. Only week 2. It's been exciting.
That's it. Sometimes you're just so optimistic going into Monday night. You're like, I only need 56 points from TJ Hawkinson, and then I'll win tonight.
If you follow our
happen.
socials, exactly. If you follow our socials, I put up a picture of my cat, just like doing a selfie mode. I'm like, yep, this is me looking, checking the bench, trying to do the math on who I could have started to win out, and not necessarily need the guys on Monday night to perform. But hey, that's what happens when you're in 8 freaking leagues. And with that, we usually get into Haynes' briefs here, but it's something different, more of an injury report. So I figured we could call this the Hurt Locker. So Ryan, with that, tell us who's hurt.
I broke my back.
What do you mean by that?
My back is broken.
What, a vertebrae or what portion?
Spinal.
You knew where I was going with that.
No broken backs as far as I know this week, but the week is young, so we'll
Not
see what
yet, yeah.
happens. But we did have a lot of major injuries, especially to some of the quarterbacks around the league. So first off, we'll start off with the surprise of the 2021 season. Tyrod Taylor has a hamstring injury. Saw a report today saying that he was going to be out. Could be several weeks, is what I saw. Possible IR stint, which means Davis Mills will get a shot. He looked real good this last week, guys. You see him?
No, refresh me. How did he look?
8 for 18, 100 yards, and at least one pick, because he's always good for one of those. And I think he did have a touchdown. But
Yeah, it's one
Yeah.
touchdown to Brandon Cooks, and like all those 8 completions went to him. So
I think he has like a 36% completion rate dating back to the preseason. So that one guy on Twitter that wanted to fight me that one day about Davis Mills, we're gonna find out what he has in the tank here.
that's all it is. Just gas.
You gotta feel bad for Tyrod here, especially after
Oh,
last
I
year
feel terrible. Dude.
getting the boot after
Man.
getting a shot. That was tough.
He's come out good.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was really good.
With a crappy team like that, and he was, I wouldn't say carrying them, but he was making them productive.
Oh, I mean,
So-
Brandon Cooks has been like a PPR machine the last couple of weeks. Fantasy relevance. Tyrod Taylor has been great for some of these guys, but
Yeah,
that sucks, man. Kid can't catch a break.
yeah, poor guy.
Not at all.
The next injury, very important to know. Andy Dalton with a knee injury. Mac, do you know the severity of this?
I do not know, but they say that if he is good to go, he will be their starter. That's Nagy for you. So
Justin
this
Fields
is
did not
he didn't look good, but
spectacular.
no, but he was also thrown in to it, so you never know if they're getting all the starting reps with Justin Fields during practice. Hopefully, they can get him game ready. But I think this is your opportunity right now. Andy Dalton's hurt. Okay, we're rolling with the kid.
Yeah, I
So-
would. Kyle, do you think they should just, even if Dalton's like on track to play this week, do you think they should just sit him, see what they have at a Fields? I mean, a healthy Fields has to be a little bit better than a hurt Andy Dalton.
I don't know. I'm leaning a little more Nick Foles here. I don't know about you guys, but he's got
Forget
the
about him.
proven track record. He might suit up this week. So, no, I mean, who's playing with Andy Dalton right now? Like, why is he even on the team? It's kind of like a wasted year. So, get Justin Fields out there, get him practicing. That's what this year's about, and hopefully he's ready for next year.
I don't know. Last episode, Regan was all about that red rocket. So
Yeah, he usually is.
Yeah. All right. So next injury, Tua goes down with some bruised ribs. So week to week, Mac, that is what they're saying. Day to day, week to week.
day to day, I think, week to week. I don't know. They're gonna hold him out because their offensive line absolutely blows. And for those of you who don't know, I am a Miami fan. It was riding high after defeating the Patriots, and then they go and lay that goose egg against Buffalo. Absolute crap. So, yeah, they'll probably just keep him out, keep him safe, which really hurts the wide receiver values. So, yeah, not good all around.
I want to say that a goose egg definitely negates your first win completely, especially when you use 35-0.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
they took all of your bragging rights away. So
they did. Except the defense kept them in it. Defense kept them in it, 14-0 at halftime.
yeah,
Like, you got to do something on offense. I'm blaming coaching, not getting these offensive guys ready.
Well, it's possible that Will Fuller comes back this week. Maybe he makes a little bit of a difference. But if it's Brissett, I think you know what you're going to get out of Brissett, which is probably like some really safe passes, 160, 170 yards, and he's going to try just to not turn over the football.
Check down to Myles Gaskin. But, yeah, Will Fuller did report to practice today, or their team meeting. So
where's
should
he
be
been? With-
family issue.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, they didn't get into it, but yeah, he had to go for that.
suspension and then personal reasons. So we'll see what happens there. I don't know how much time he's spent practicing this offseason too, so I don't know what his connection is going to be with these quarterbacks. But we'll see. He's a veteran, so he might surprise us. Another quarterback injury: Carson Wentz, not one but two ankles, both ankles. Yikes! This guy,
gosh.
another guy can't catch a break, huh? So.
Yep, his bones are made of glass, man. Yeah, we don't really need to spend much time on him. Except their backups look terrible. Eason, what's his name?
Yeah, Jacob Eason.
Yeah, don't start any other wide receivers.
You know what? I'm giving Eason a pass and Fields a pass. Like, it is tough getting thrown in mid-game. So we'll see what happens this week. But a big injury here because this guy was doing pretty good. Deontay Johnson lands awkwardly, and this was on the last play of the game. Hurts his leg. Seems that he's going to be questionable, have a questionable status for this week. But there's a very good chance that he doesn't play. So I would say Juju, if he doesn't play, his upside goes up tremendously. And then Claypool, I still not super high on Claypool because Ben can't get him the ball because he doesn't have more than half a second to throw it. So I don't know. Any other thoughts on this?
We can get into the Steelers later, but it's too early to tell. I think on how long he'll be out. What do you got, Kyle?
Just on that injury, that was I'm pretty sure it was the last play of the game, and it was a completely needless play. You're Deontay Johnson. You're the Steelers. You're kicking yourself in the face right now. It's complete waste.
Yeah, why is he in there?
What is he doing? Yeah, it was a needless play. It was just it burned the clock, and that was it. The game was over. He was the only guy on the field because he was broken. So
trying to get Dwayne Haskins in there, man. Enough with Ben Roethlisberger.
Dwayne Haskins. Maybe not him, but maybe somebody else. Maybe Nick Foles. And then the last injury, Darrell Henderson also has a reported rib injury. I think he is another one with a questionable status for this week, so we're going to keep you guys updated as we go throughout the week. Another guy that has looked pretty good so far. You guys have anything to say about this? Sony Michel time?
Yeah, we'll get into it with our next episode with our waiver ads. I got some notes on him, but yeah, I mean, he was looking pretty good too, from what I saw. That sucks. These guys with the ribs. What do you think they need, Kyle? Some bubble wrap on the pads or something?
Yeah, maybe just lower the shoulder a little bit more often, but
you're not allowed to. You're not allowed to, right?
Yeah.
can't lower the shoulder.
Yeah, right.
So maybe that's why. I wonder. We'll see at the end of the season how many injuries like this happen.
Right.
Well, Darrell Henderson had about 16 fantasy points in week 1, 17 this week. Is averaging more than 4 yards a carry, and has a touchdown in both games. So he's been really productive. This is going to hurt some owners if he can't go.
Averaging how many yards a carry?
A little over 4. So he averaged about 4.4 the first game and a little over 4 this game. So he's like 4.2 on average, which is pretty solid.
Yep.
And that's it for the Hurt Locker.
The Hurt Locker.
By Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh man, I didn't have it. Jake Gyllenhaal, dude, you keep mixing up your movie references.
Hurt Locker was definitely Jake Gyllenhaal.
No, it was Jeremy Renner, dude.
Jeremy Renner.
Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal.
It was Hawkeye, man. Come on.
You got it.
What's Hawkeye?
Not that.
What's that from?
He's the character.
I went to MASH on Alan Alda.
Oh my God!
Hawkeye,
now I'm
the
blanking on
Adventures.
Jake
Holy shit.
Gyllenhaal movie. Oh, we're off the rails here.
All right, keep going.
Anyway.
Isn't it like Jarhead?
Jarhead. Yeah,
Yes,
you got it.
There we go. Nice.
Was he in Jarhead too?
Nailed it. No, he wasn't.
Was there a sequel?
Yeah, I didn't see either.
I think there's
no, come on.
No, I think there's
really?
actually 3. There's 3 or 4 Jarheads.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
There's a target audience there, so they're gonna keep making them.
That's true.
We do have a little bit of briefs here, Ryan. I don't know if you want to touch on that real quick. Just something to keep an eye on.
Oh, yeah. 49ers are having a visit with Duke Johnson, Lamar Miller, and TJ Yeldon, per Adam Schefter. I still think Elijah Mitchell beats out any of those guys. and
The
Trey
thing
Sermon.
is, they're getting hurt.
Michael
It's the
Hasty.
49ers.
Yeah, but these guys, if I was a running back, I would be like, I would rather consider retirement than going to the 49ers right now. Because if those guys are playing, they're on running back, 7 at that point? I don't know.
Dude, Kerryon Johnson is there on their practice squad. So they want a paycheck. They're going there. They don't care if they get hurt.
I think it's a matter of time before Jimmy G gets hurt. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens to the running game there.
Or maybe they use all 7 of their running backs that they're going to sign.
They might. Maybe Brandon Ayuk could go in at running back, get him some work.
Yeah, there you go.
I did talk to you before the games because we were talking about Elijah Mitchell if we're going to start him, and we said there might be shenanigans with their running backs, and it wasn't any of his calling. It was just they cannot stay healthy.
Nope.
And it's ridiculous.
Even Elijah Mitchell went down, and then they lost Hasty and they lost Sermon. So then he had to come back by default into the game, even though he may or may not have been healthy enough. So yeah, interesting situation there.
Yeah, Hasty ankle sprain and Trey Sermon a concussion. Is that
Concussion, right? Brain injury.
Yeah, brain injury.
I think that's the politically correct way of talking about it now.
Yeah.
Can't call it concussion anymore.
Freaking everybody's going soft. Anyway, Ryan.
Well, thank you, Chuck
Norris. Speaking of, I still didn't watch that Walker show yet from our leftovers last week.
Oh.
But I'll get to it. I've been busy. But with that, we will get into a recap of highlighting the positional players that shined, some that were not so shined, so we're going to call it the hard players of the week, the best performing players, and the limp players of the week. The ones that pretty much self-explanatory there. Just couldn't perform at the right time. Maybe they need some PEDs. I don't know. We'll get into it. But first, we'll start with quarterbacks here. And keep in mind, we're recording this on Monday night before the game on September 20th. Packers and Detroit Lions, so keep that in mind. The rankings might change when you're listening to this. But top 5, we got Kyler Murray. How awesome is this guy? 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did have 2 picks, but a touchdown. Lamar Jackson, awesome. 1 touchdown. Rushing yards over 100 and 2 rushing touchdowns. This one's surprising. Daniel Jones on Thursday night against Washington. Who would have started him to be the number 3 running back? Excuse me. He ran a lot.
He might have been the number 3.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's probably an accurate statement.
His name came up on the screen in the rushing yards when I was watching the game.
One of the highest rushing guys, yeah. Ridiculous. Then, of course, the GOAT, Tom Brady, with his 5 touchdowns. Did you guys watch that game? That was good.
I stopped watching that game.
No, I didn't.
You stopped after the defense were just owning. And then Patrick Mahomes rounding out the top 5, 3 touchdowns, 343 yards. So
with the big L.
Good for those guys with the big L. I did not stay up to watch that game, but I heard crazy things. But with that, a couple guys I wanted to highlight here. Kirk Cousins, I did mention, hey, keep an eye on him. He was number 6, 3 touchdowns. Keep an eye on him. Kyle, you want to take the next guy here?
Derek Carr.
Ooh.
Yeah. Derek Carr looks awesome, man, honestly.
Number 8, dude.
Number 8, they're just going to keep throwing the ball, especially with Josh Jacobs out too. It's just going to keep rolling. Darren Waller not very involved in this game too, and you know, if he's back next week, obviously it's going to be more yards, more catches.
Yeah, it's surprising. You watched the game, so what were they just triple covering Waller so everybody else was open?
Yeah, absolutely. And then, you know, obviously that doesn't work out well for everybody else because, you know, they get some fast receivers there. Work to our benefit.
Makes sense. Teddy Bridgewater, ranked number 9. I did say keep an eye on him. He's being pretty accurate. 26 for 34, 328 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Teddy is impressive, man. He is. And no Jerry Jeudy this week. Cortland Sutton stepped up in a huge way. But Bridgewater is He's super accurate, man. You get him the right weapons, he can really be dangerous. And I just want to say one thing with Derek Carr: the amount of yards that he's put up so far is incredible. I would have never expected it. If you told me, if you listed off his wide receivers for this season, and you had told me he was going to have 2 games over 350 yards, I probably would have questioned you. And in both games, I think he had 430 against the Ravens, and then 382 this week or something.
Yeah, 435 last week against Baltimore, and then 382. You're right, 2 touchdowns in each.
He broke a franchise record too for the most yards in the first 2 games. So
yeah. Jeez.
Yeah, you might want to pick him up.
Not a bad
yeah,
grab.
Kyle and I are going to talk about that next episode, I think, for sure.
Sounds good. My guy, Taylor Heineke, ranked number 10. I'm sure that will change after tonight. But, hey, 336 yards and 2 touchdowns. Keep an eye on him, man.
And can run.
See. And he can run.
Yeah.
And he can pass.
They're letting him throw.
Gary McLaurin put up a big game with him, which is a good sign for McLaurin owners. I started Heineke in 1 league. He did me a solid. So, yeah, Mac, this might have been a good call on your end.
I say keep an eye because I knew, God rest his soul, Fitzpatrick would have made it through.
His football soul.
His football soul. He's done.
The thing I like about Heineke too is that if while you watch him throw, he throws high, safe passes, so nearly impossible to pick off, but the receiver can still get up there and grab it. So he's playing smart. He's being very careful when he throws the ball.
Unlike my boy Zach Wilson.
Oh, we'll get to him. Don't you worry.
Oh, we'll get to him. One more guy I wanted to touch on his hard performance here. Sam Darnold. I was saying keep an eye on him. If we're all about his weapons, you might want to take a look at him. We're breaking down division here. Ranked number 13. We'll get into if these guys are worth adding, but Sam Darnold doesn't look half bad. 305 yards and 2 touchdowns. He did have a pick. But he doesn't look like he was like he does with the Jets and Adam Gase, so I like it. Let's get into some.
You not only hang on. You not only said that to keep an eye on him, but in our Session Takeover 2 tournament, you said draft Sam Darnold. 2-quarterback league. You wanted him on our bench, and we've benched him twice, and both times he's outperformed our quarterback too. So,
who was our quarterback too?
Big Ben is our quarterback too.
Oh, because we skipped on Carr, right?
We did.
I don't know. Somebody was saying Carr. And it didn't happen. I don't know.
Somebody snapped Carr before we could get him. Come on.
Yep, that's right. It would have been nice to have Carr though. That's for damn sure.
We can drop Big Ben now. I'm gonna say that right now.
You can.
No. You need him for the bye weeks.
Yeah, he might get a solidified place on the bench. So we'll see about that.
You are fake news.
All right, let's get into some lip players here. Get some good sound drops for here. What do we got here, Ryan?
All right, so first, just the guy I'm worried about is Josh Allen. I would say for him and his expectations, definitely putting up some limp performances. This week he was quarterback number 17. Last week, I think he was right around that ballpark as well. I think he was even a little bit lower. I mean, he's honestly, guys, he's kind of looking like the Josh Allen from a couple of years ago. 179 yards this week, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Team pulled off a W, but I don't know. I had him quarterback 2 preseason. So, what are you guys thinking?
Yeah, it's bad. He was 17 of 33, 79 yards and 2 touchdowns. The one thing, though, is we can get into it later with the running backs, but Zach Moss did snipe him some goal line carries because they really were just trying to get out with the win. They already had it handily, so maybe don't panic just yet because of the game script. But yeah, I don't think, Kyle, you weren't too high on Josh Allen this year at all.
Yeah, it's the Bills, so we can't. You just can't. You can't be high, no matter how well they did the year before.
You can't be high.
You definitely can be high. Yeah.
They're my
Buffalo,
Super Bowl
New York.
picks,
Yeah,
so.
you can be high.
It's the only thing to do in Buffalo, I think.
Yeah.
And eat chicken wings.
Break tables.
Hell yeah. I'll talk a little bit more about Allen in my rough in our next segment coming up. So, what do we got next? What do you think, Mac?
Justin Herbert here. We can touch on him in my rough as well. Ranked 19. Disappointed. This guy, though, Ryan Tannehill, freaking 22.
Mm-hmm.
347 yards. He's not passing any touchdowns. Freaking Derrick Henry. Stop being so selfish. Yeah,
Very
I don't know.
true.
I have Ryan Tannehill in 2 leagues, so I'm a bit worried that he's not gonna be performing. But I did grab him in like double-digit rounds, so maybe we'll get into it with our next episode. But stream a quarterback until he gets going.
You know what's a good sign with Tannehill? 2 games over 35 passing attempts. Not something you saw very often last year, so I don't want people to panic too much. If you go back to like the second half of last year, he only did that once. In a lot of games, he would throw 24, 25, 26 times. So they're trying to pass it a little bit more, air it out a little bit more. So don't get too concerned. Don't get your panties all in a bunch here, Mac.
Do you think
They're not?
Do you think that's
I'm
game
free
script
balling.
or?
It did go to overtime, so
Yeah.
they did have to throw more.
And
Against
they
Seattle as well.
they were getting blown out by Arizona, so they're obviously going to throw the ball
yeah.
more, right?
True. I mean, if they get a lead, you know they're just gonna go with Henry, and he's gonna end up getting 30 carries. But we'll see. I think Indy's coming up next. A game they should probably win, especially if it's Jacob Eason. So this might be a game where Tannehill might only throw the ball 27, 28 times. But we'll see.
And I'm still not worried about Herbert, by the way. Just I wanted to make that clear. 300 plus passing yards both games. He's going to be all right. Kansas City's going to be a shootout next week. So.
And we talked about pre-show. He had at least two touchdowns called back yesterday too. So.
Right.
That kind of skewed his stats a little bit for yesterday.
Yeah, touchdowns will come.
Alrighty. Yeah, you're right. Let's. I think we should move on from quarterbacks. We get into our segment.
You want to get into Davis Mills or Jameis Winston?
Not really.
Or Zach Wilson? The limpest performance of them all.
No, we're not
The
getting
rookie of the year.
Rookie of the year.
We're not getting into that.
Oh man, I don't know. He had Devin McCourty about 60 yards down the field in stride.
Devin McCourty, you're right. You are right.
Yeah.
He did. He did.
But yeah, we don't have to rub salt in the wound too much, Mac.
You can.
If you can't take it tonight, then we can move on from quarterbacks.
Well,
he gets cutest rookie of the year.
It's true. In high school.
Yeah.
I just want to bring up Justin Herbert last year against New England. He threw for 53 times, only 26 completions, just over 200 yards, and 2 picks. So there's still a chance.
It was a cold day.
Sure.
That's true.
He's a warm climate guy,
Yeah, West Coast kid. So you're saying Zach Wilson's half as good as Justin Herbert. All right, that sounds about right.
That's fair. Yeah, that's a fair.
It was a bold prediction, and it's only week 2. Calm down. But it's not looking good.
No. All right. What do you want to do? You want to just roll right into running backs here?
No. Let's get to your segment real quick here. Who's on the fairway here?
Yeah. So, nice. We're gonna go back into the fairway and rough segment. So fairway is gonna be our projections that we're kind of on par with, right in the fairway, down the center of the hole, and the
guys that we said that would be good starters, and the guys that we said to fade away in our AFC and NFC starts, just to keep us in check to make sure that we're giving you guys good advice.
Anything we're right about, exactly. So, and then the rough's going to be
and wrong.
Yeah, and that's going to be the rough. So guys who can still turn it around. We're in the rough. Just because you tee off and you're in the rough doesn't mean you can't bird the hole. So it's early, It's only week 2, but just some projections that are a little bit off the course a little bit. Maybe you're playing on the next hole. But my fairway, which is something I do often, my fairway is going to be Lamar Jackson. So he was the quarterback 3 this week, which is where I had him projected in my preseason rankings. I think he's back in the fairway. He was in the rough last week. He's back in the fairway. He settled down after that initial pick 6 yesterday, and combined for 3 touchdowns on, in the air and on the ground. So mine's Lamar Jackson. What do you got, Mac?
Makes sense. Mine, Kirk Cousins. I was mentioning that he's a worthy streamer. Ranked number 6, 244 yards, 3 touchdowns, just under 25 points. And I forgot to mention this at the top of the episode. We ranked this on 4-point passing touchdown and then PPR. So keep those rankings in mind. But yeah, Kirk Cousins, their defense is not good, and they need to throw. And I thought they were showing some promise in the preseason, and I am being proven wrong with that as well. But a lot of people thought their defense would improve, but they haven't proved. They haven't showed that yet. So, Kirk Cousins, keep an eye on him. Kyle, you didn't really have any predictions in the last episode, but besides, you want to get to it, go right ahead.
Wait, what did I predict?
Oh, something about your Raiders preseason.
Oh, yeah, the Raiders were going to be good. Derek Carr is going to be good. They're 2-0. I don't know anybody else who has a favorite team here that's 2-0. Anybody? I didn't. Yeah.
That's going to be a negative. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say no. It's fine.
No, you want to save it.
I was going to talk about Russell Wilson a little bit, but it's not necessary.
No,
it speaks for itself. Like I remember picking him up in a couple of mock drafts or whatever. So he's showing the numbers, obviously, really airing the ball out. So can't go wrong.
Are you worried about him being like his usual self? You are with Josh Allen, starting out hot, and then he falters at the end of the season, the back half of the season. Are you worried about that with Russell Wilson, or you think this is his MVP type of season the whole way through?
Yeah, hard to say. I mean, I'd have to take a better look at his schedule, but it's very hard to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually think his back half of his schedule is easier than his front half. So, we'll see. Yeah, it might. Very well might.
Sick of losing, I think. So I do remember saying Russ was sick of losing. So.
Yeah, you are correct on that. Ryan, let's get into the rough here. What were some bad calls we made?
I'm going to dive back into Josh Allen right now. So I know. I don't want to talk too much about him. But listen, quarterback 21 last week, I projected him to be my quarterback 2. 56% completion percentage over the first 2 games, averaging 224 yards per game. In comparison, a guy that I had him ranked over was Kyler Murray, who has a 74% completion percentage, 345 yards per game, 7 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. So, obviously, that's where I saw Allen kind of being, and that is not where he's at right now. So, big disappointment for me so far.
Kyler Murray, that was my QB1 in our preseason rankings. My bad call in the rough. Dak and Herbert, I said both of them could easily be in the top 5 of quarterbacks. Herbert was 19 and Dak was 27. So just a bit in the rough there.
A slice.
A little bit. All right. Let's say we move into the running backs here.
Oh, Kyle, do you have a rough? Or do you have any comments on those roughs?
Get rough?
I think the only rough I would say is that everybody was a little high on Big Ben this year, and I think it was a mistake. I think it was a big mistake.
Oh, I was not. I was saying that too. Their offensive line is terrible. He did not look good.
Yeah, and he's.
Do you remember the picture in preseason? All ice packs all over his body, like walking around.
I think that was just after eating a sandwich too. So like.
Oh man,
yeah, he did not. He doesn't look great. I mean, there's flares there, but like just moving around in the pocket, he's his usual slow self, and he looks 40. He looks actually 50 maybe. He doesn't look Tom Brady 40. Let's just put it that way.
He does not look Tom. Nobody does.
Now, when you pair age with a really shitty O-line, like you're going to move a little slower and you're going to have way less time. So I think those are the two things that are kind of an issue for Ben right now.
He took some hard hits too, so
He'll take more. He's going to take plenty of hits this year.
Yep. Side note, I gotta check this stat, but I heard it. Tom Brady is only like 19 touchdowns away from throwing more touchdowns in his 40s than he did his entire 20s.
Wow.
I gotta double check on that. I'll get it for next episode, but I heard that today.
That's pretty impressive.
It's insane. Like
that's
he's
not
gonna
including
get it this
college,
year.
right?
NFL stats. I don't think he threw that many in college. Okay. Can't say I was into college football back then.
Spend time with Drew Henson. Yeah, not the best.
That's right, Drew Henson.
All right, running backs.
Running backs. Let's see if I bring them up correctly. The top 5 here. Big surprise, Derrick Henry got you like 50 points in some leagues, depending on your scoring. But number 1, 182 yards, 3 touchdowns. This one's surprising. 6 receptions for 55 yards. But they were literally, he sets up for pass blocking, goes out 5 yards, turns around, and they throw it right to his chest. But we did, back in the preseason, when we did start this podcast, I was saying, hey, he's working out for passing. Keep an eye on him. He's actually, besides Eckler, the reception leader, and James White, excuse me, the reception leader in running backs. So
wow,
that's pretty crazy. Never heard that with
I forget who was calling their game. I don't know if it was Trent Green, but somebody was like, listen,
I think so.
He's not running wheel routes and he's not lining up outside. Like until he does that, he's not a receiver by any means. These are very
that is everybody's covered. Okay, dump off to him.
Yes.
Christian McCaffrey, 24 points here. He's always good. This one's surprising. Number 3, Tony Pollard. We'll get into him with our waiver ads. Over 100 yards and a touchdown. Austin Eckler finally throwing to him. 9 for 9 on his reception, 61 yards. J.D. McKissick on the Thursday night game. Top 5 there. Yeah, so running backs are a bit strange. I think we need a bigger sample size, but I think we'll look at it halfway through the season. Might be a good strategy for a zero run RB strategy, depending on your point system. So we'll get into that later. Some other guys want to highlight. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, you skipped a guy. Very important guy. Number 4, I think you might have just been going into him.
Okay. No, I wanted to touch on that. So depending on your rankings, Cordell Patterson, is that who you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So he's in the wide receiver ranking. So as he's the number 8 wide receiver on the week, but he would be ranked number 4 in our hearts and our running back. Not in our hearts, not at all. But so yeah, we'll get into him in our waiver ad. Spoiler alert, Adam.
Saw that.
But yeah, we'll keep him out for this breakdown. We'll keep him in receivers, I suppose. But Najee Harris, ranked number 6, finally got a pass for a touchdown. Good for him. Ryan, question for you. Do I trade Najee Harris for, say, Zeke? Try to see if that Zeke owner wants to trade to see who's going to bet on the bigger upside later on the season? Maybe throw in a couple of receivers to trade partners with? Or do I keep on with Najee?
I would. Only because of this. Najee Harris. 26 carries so far this season and 83 yards. So he can't run the ball. It doesn't have an O-line, man. Like he did have 5 receptions this game and a touchdown. Tony Pollard kind of scares me right now. But I would.
Pollard, yeah.
Yeah, I trade Najee for Zeke straight up.
Yeah, I mean, Zeke was number 8, so he had 71 yards and a touchdown. Only 2 receptions, though, so that makes me nervous. Henderson, we mentioned at the beginning, ranked number 9. Dalvin Cook, 131 yards. He's getting that end zone for me, though. Number 10. Guy I wanted to highlight here, Mike Davis. Oh, excuse me. I guess I already talked about him. Mike Davis, number 16, 9 carries for 38 yards, 7 for 7 receptions though, 25 yards. I have him in 2 leagues. Are you nervous about him because of Cordell Patterson and that entire offense?
I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, Kyle.
I don't know. I would definitely be nervous, especially with Cordell Patterson there. I mean, they're going to be in shootouts every week, so maybe they go with a guy who has a little bit better hands, although Mike Davis did fine catching the ball. I'd probably put that wide receiver running back in a little more often if I was the Atlanta Falcons. So.
Yeah, it seems to be trending that way for sure. Their defense actually turned it on in the second half, and then Matt Ryan had to throw like 2 pick sixes in a row to take him out of the game. So good for you. Zach Moss, number 12. Oh, I'm sorry. Devin Singletary, ranked 12. Zach Moss, ranked 14. Don't chase these points. It was just Miami gave up in the second half, and Zach Moss scored 2 touchdowns. Only 26 yards. So don't chase him. This guy, one last highlight here. This is for our hard players here. Michael Carter, ranked 20. His numbers aren't that impressive. 59 yards, 2 receptions for 29 yards. But Zach Wilson throwing 4 picks didn't help him. Maybe he could have gotten into the end zone if he wasn't so careless. Chucking, ducking. But this is what I want to focus on. He averaged over 5 yards a carry against New England. Ryan, why didn't the Jets keep running the freaking ball against New England?
It wasn't just Michael Carter either. Like Tevin Coleman had some good runs.
I think the entire running back room had over 5 yards per carry.
Yep. Ty Johnson looked damn good too. They all looked good. I don't know, man. They didn't try to establish it enough. But also, Wilson threw 4 passes and 4 picks, so it wasn't like he was airing it out a ton either. So I think they were trying to run the ball and establish the run, and every time they tried to throw the football, it just ended up in the Patriots' hands.
Yeah, no, he would chuck it deep for no reason to nobody, and
they'd have a drive going. It'd be like 6-yard gain, first down. Maybe,
exactly.
Yep.
Freaking idiot.
Anyway, let's get on to, well, I guess we can't really get on to it, but the limp players of the week here. Ryan, who do we got?
I like what you did there.
Thank you.
So, number 39 this week, Jonathan Taylor scores 6 points. A little concerning, just because this is supposed to be a guy who's supposed to be a reliable RB1. Many of you picked him in the first round. The last thing you want from a first-round pick is a guy who's going to be scoring 6 points on a consistent basis. And until he's involved more in the passing game consistently, I worry about Jonathan Taylor a little bit.
Makes sense. I'm worried too. I'm more worried about the next guy here, though.
That's true. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 3 points this week.
Oof.
I did bench him
Not
because
good.
I wanted to see what would happen, and I started Melvin Gordon over him. So not that much better. But come on. What is going on with the Chiefs? You have the number 1 running back of the number 1 scoring offense, besides the Raiders. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think they are. But always in the top 5 of scoring each week. And he can't get into the end zone. I'm in trouble here. I have him in 1 league.
Barely involved.
Barely involved. It's not good.
You would think for a team that passes that much too, Mac. Sorry to cut you off, but you think
No,
like
it's
if a
fine.
team passes 50 times a game, they're probably not expecting you to run the ball. So when you get the ball, you should be able to run it for more than 3 yards. I'm confused about CEH, man. I don't know. He's been really disappointing. Maybe a pass because he played Baltimore. Yeah. Baltimore and Cleveland's a tough start. So we'll see moving forward.
I think
there is. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kyle.
It's all right, but I think part of it obviously is Pat Mahomes' game. Like you're kind of always playing the run a little bit. The way he moves, the way he scrambles, the way he comes out. I think you're always playing the run, so it kind of doesn't. It's not like Tom Brady where he's sitting back, where he's not going anywhere. So there's always going to be that constant pressure on their offense.
Yeah, like a scrambling quarterback, I mean.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, spy. Yep.
Makes sense. Another thing I wanted to touch on, Baltimore did throw a pick six, so that takes away a possession from Kansas City. Maybe he could have done something on that, but yeah, I don't know. I'm nervous. I'm nervous. Should we get into our fairway and rough real quick?
Yeah, sure.
You go ahead.
So my fairway for this week was actually Mike Davis' first start. Only in a PPR format because he was running back 16, as you said, 7 for 7 targets, receptions, almost no yardage on the ground or in the air, like you had referenced. But tied Damian Harris for points, was a pretty solid RB2 option. So Mike Davis for a start this week was a good call on my end.
Yeah, makes sense. The other guy you mentioned, Damian Harris, there. You guys were like, "Oh, there's rumors that Belichick's mad at him." They're gonna send him. I'm like, they can't. They have to use him. And how about that touchdown run? Huh? Dragging players, being pushed into the end zone. Good for him.
7 broken tackles.
Yeah. He looked good. So made it to the top 15. So not a bad RB2 there. All right, wide receivers here. Hard players of the week. I should really bring these up before I move on. Cooper Kupp here. Damn, look at this guy. He sucks. 1 carry for -5 yards. But he had 9 receptions for 163 yards and 2 touchdowns, so that made up for it. Kyle's boy, Tyler Lockett. 8 receptions, 178 yards, and 1 touchdown. Can you freaking share these with DK Metcalf? Good God.
Not a chance.
It's so annoying. Terry McLaurin, Cortland Sutton. I think, Ryan, you called that. He should have a big game. He did. 9 receptions, 159 yards. And Mike Evans, 5 receptions, 75 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So good for him. This guy that I wanted to highlight here, Rondell Moore. You should have him stashed. I've been telling you to have him stashed since drafting periods. He went off 23 points, so 114 yards and a touchdown. I didn't watch too much of the game, though, but I guess there was a broken play on his touchdown, so that inflated his stats a bit. I don't care. Stats are stats. Get him on your bench. You might have to play him this week. Brandon Cooks. Ryan, should you trade him now? Number 9 on the week?
I could, but he's getting all the volume, man. He got half the targets, half the pass attempts went his way. 14 targets yesterday. So even though Davis Mills, I still think that guy's he seems like a kind of dude that just airs it out. So Brandon Cooks still should be in for a whole heck of a lot of volume.
That's true. All right, so number 17, 18, and 19, we got Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones, Justin Jefferson. Good bounce-back games for all of them. They're getting at least 8 points more than what they had the previous week. Julio Jones much more. I should have had his stats.
Kyle, do you have any shares of Julio Jones? I know you were pretty high on him before the season.
No, I have 0 shares of Julio Jones.
But you picked him up in a couple of our mocks, I think.
Yeah, I did, and I think when I did my wide receiver breakdown, he kind of, just looking at him more, he just kind of fell for me. I actually was pushing Lockett, I believe, so I dropped Julio pretty low. He has the potential, though. He looked awesome this week, obviously.
I was worried about them not being on the same page, so it was good to see 128 yards off 6 receptions. But it also was Seattle. Their defense sucks.
I tell you what I'm worried about with these wide receivers, that they alternate. I'm so afraid that they just alternate. Like A.J. Brown goes off, Julio Jones is quiet. Next week, Julio Jones goes off, A.J. Brown is quiet. That, as an A.J. Brown owner, I am very worried about that.
Yeah, makes sense. These guys actually should be in our limp players, so I guess we'll just roll into that. We got 26 and 27, Stefon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins. You're drafting him in the second round, maybe sometimes in the first round, and then getting 16 and 15 points. We're worried about Josh Allen. Are we worried about Stefon Diggs?
Yeah. If I'm worried about Josh Allen, of course I'm worried about Stefon Diggs.
Obviously.
If Allen's only throwing for 180 yards, those 180-yard performances from Stefon Diggs are going to be few and far in between.
Yeah, only 60 yards off of 4 receptions for him. But DeAndre Hopkins caught 100% of his passes. 4 for 4. 54 yards, hit a touchdown.
Yeah.
Maybe if Rondell Moore didn't go off, and their tight end, which we'll get into. But, hey.
That's scary, dude.
That's
scary that Kyler Murray can have the game that he had throwing for 400 yards, and only 4 of those passes went to DeAndre Hopkins.
Mm-hmm. Are we seeing a changing of the guard with receivers now? I don't know. A little nervous. DeAndre Hopkins, 29. I don't know. He's getting up there.
Rondell Moore, 14 yards after the catch. Averaging highest in the league.
Mm-hmm.
The dude, I think I mentioned this in an old episode. He squatted like 650 pounds his freshman year in college or something. His thighs are like this.
That's at least 3 defenders. So.
Oh yeah, easy enough. At this point, he's probably got like 5 or 6. He's probably got like 1,000 on the rack or something.
He's a man. All right. Let's get into our limp players here quickly. Not good here, Ryan.
I know it's hard to go limp after talking about Rondell Moore's performance and.
That's true. You're really disappointed.
My number 1 limp player of this week, to me, was Antonio Brown because I played him in so many leagues. I was so excited for him after week 1, and 3 points. Kind of to be expected. I know that this is going to be a little bit of a trend with him. I was just overly optimistic, I think.
You gotta think that Antonio Brown's in Tom Brady's living room right now, talking to him about those points, 3 points. He's gonna get some action next week. I wouldn't be too worried. Gronk,
yeah, hopefully he doesn't hit any delivery drivers or anything during this week, just out of frustration.
I hope not. I hope not. Yeah, Corey Davis, I started him with my flex. Stupid me. He's their best wide receiver, and going against the Patriots, of course, Bill Belichick will cancel out the best player on the team. Zach Wilson. And then he shut down Corey Davis.
Right.
So.
And then Amari Cooper gets hurt, right? And nothing was going on in that game anyways.
When did he get hurt? Did he get hurt early?
I think it was pretty late in the game, but,
Late in the game? But, yeah, they just couldn't get anything going.
Nothing was going in that game.
Yeah, it was similar to like Mike Evans with the Bucs in week 1, where everything that went his way was just getting tipped or was off target. That was disappointing, too, because I have 2 shares of Amari Cooper.
No, that's a bit of a problem.
Was.
It is. Alrighty. Anybody else on the limp notes there?
No, I mean Devontae Smith obviously disappointing.
Okay.
DJ Chark very disappointing this week after looking okay week 1. So we'll see how these guys turn it around, but not. After having great weeks, all these guys had really strong week 1s and all kind of tapered off week 2. So we'll see what week 3 has in store for them.
Sounds good. Ryan, I know this is supposed to be the fairway, but I would say this was a hole-in-one for you.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, Cooper Kupp, baby. Wide receiver 9, I had him projected as. He was wide receiver 10 last week, wide receiver 1 this week. He's averaging 10.5 targets per game, a 76% catch rate, has 271 yards and 3 touchdowns in 2 games, exceeding my expectations. I don't see that volume going down, and it seems like Stafford and Kupp is greater than Stafford and Robert Woods, so that also pleases me.
Oh, I bet it does.
Speaking of hole-in-one.
Uh-huh. speaking of my hole-in-one here, Tyler Lockett. I said he'd be a top 5 wide receiver in a shootout game. It certainly was. I said last possession will win the game. Went into overtime. Not exactly as I thought it would go. But I want to pat myself on the back there. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job.
Appreciate it.
Golf claps are a little quieter than that usually, but it's for you.
Yeah. And then and Kyle, something with the Raiders he called, I'm sure.
No, not the Raiders. I think I mentioned last week my waiver wire ads, like kind of on the side of you guys, and KJ Osborne was one of them, and he had another solid week. 91 yards, touchdown. I mean, only on 6 targets too. So, actually 6. Am I wrong? That's probably wrong.
No, you're right.
You're right.
Yeah.
5
that's
receptions
right.
on 6. Yeah.
So, he picked it up with a touchdown
call.
this week. He had 9 targets week 1. So, honestly, if he's not grabbing your league, grab him now.
Shh, save it for the next episode.
I said it last week. It's okay.
We could say it in both episodes too. The more the merrier,
We want people to listen to the next episode. We want you to download and listen at Just a Tip. Fantasy Football Podcast on Apple, Google, Spotify, and Amazon.
I am wondering where Henry Ruggs is on this list here, though, because I'm looking and I just don't see him. And...
You don't see him? You got to scroll down a bit.
All right.
To number 10. Number 10. 1 carry for 2 yards. Wow. 5 of 7, 113 yards, and 1 touchdown. How great is that?
That's what happens when Waller doesn't get the ball. The whole team goes off.
I didn't think other players were on the team. I just thought it was Waller. And Josh Jacobs.
Well, here's the good thing for Waller is that I think the Raiders proved that that's not going to work. Like double teaming him, triple teaming him, you're probably not going to be able to do it because Ruggs is going to burn you, Edwards is going to burn you, Renfro could burn you. Like those, they got some really, like you said, Kyle, some very fast receivers. So
I like
good for Waller.
I love Renfro. Loved him last year. Love him this year. He's just that utility guy. He's going to make big plays for you pretty much every week, and he's a good safety net. Those guys are fast, as far as Henry Ruggs and Brian. But
Renfro maybe not as much.
He's quick.
He's quick.
I think we just lost some listeners because we were talking about the Raiders too much there.
Should we go back to Miami?
No, God! No, God, please, no!
Here's the great thing about Miami, Kyle, that you don't even have to talk about them because we're highlighting the performers of the week and our fairway players. Like, you can just cut them out of the whole episode.
You actually don't have to say anything. You just give them the O face because that's the score,
At least they're not making the limp list.
Oh, they're not because they're castrated.
Oh, God.
Oh, no, they're just middle of the pack, man. They're average.
All right.
They're average.
Medium.
Yeah.
All right, who do we got in the rough here?
For me, it's Calvin Ridley. He had a decent week this week, but he was wide receiver 17. He was wide receiver 55 in week 1. Had 7 catches, 63 yards, and a touchdown. But I mean, I wasn't the only guy that had this guy ranked as like a top 4 wide receiver this year, and I had him as number 2. So pretty disappointing start. And there's nothing that like makes me feel good about like Matt Ryan right now. It just feels like this is going to be a common trend. So I don't know. How do you feel? Yep, that sounds about right.
Nervous. Yeah, I have him, and I'm not liking it. Took him in the second round, especially on the turn. It was between him and Diggs, and really disappointing with all those guys. So just you got to adapt. Might have to grab a guy to take his place while we're waiting if they keep having some slump games. My guy in the rough, I said sit Marquise Brown. 23 points, he ranked 7 on the week against Kansas City because I was all smart in saying that Kansas City's defense shuts down the wide receivers. And I was expecting just a big running game, which it was, but I didn't know it was going to be that much. And Marquise Brown, 113 yards and a touchdown, so good for him. We'll talk about it more next episode.
Rated him in Dynasty.
Yeah, that's good. All right, we got to get through this quickly here. The tight ends, the hard players of the week. Again, I'm not bringing up the list before I start transferring over. Travis Kelce, big surprise, 23 points, well, just number 24. 7 receptions, 109 yards, and a touchdown. Rob Gronkowski here, 4 for 39 and 2 touchdowns. Is he reaching his peak? 20 points.
He gets tight end too.
He's tight end too. No, all right. I'm saying
We go much higher than that.
I'm saying is he just touchdown or bust? Like he has to get into the end zone.
He
He's
might
not
be,
in
but he's probably
between
going to
those
score a
20
touchdown
guys.
every week.
Probably have everybody else move the chains.
30
and then he
touchdowns
scores.
this year. Yeah.
You might, because Brady's going to throw over 60 touchdowns. I said he was going to try to break the touchdown record, and he could very well do over 60. It's ridiculous. This one is why I'm not panicking over DeAndre Hopkins. Max Williams, tight end for who? Arizona. 7 receptions for 94 yards. That's not going to happen again.
No.
Jack Doyle, number 4. Noah Fant. Kyle Pitts made it to number 6. Look at that. 5 receptions, 73 yards. Waller, 7. 5 receptions, 65 yards. Not a bad day. Not a bad day. This guy I want to highlight here, Ryan. Mark Andrews, 5 for 5, 57 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Not getting into the end zone. He's usually that red zone target.
It's not throwing down there.
I
It's
know.
they're running the football. It's the backs or Lamar, and that's it.
You hope that'll change. What did you draft him? 6th round? 5 or 6th round? So, not bad.
I didn't draft him. I traded for him in Dynasty.
You
That's how I
traded
own
for
Mark
him.
Andrews.
Excuse
Yeah.
me. Excuse me.
Yep. So we'll see what happens, but he's been open, and it's reassuring that he caught all of his targets this week, because we talked about that one significant drop from last week that really cost me. But yeah, we'll see what happens with Mark Andrews. Hopefully, get some more red zone targets.
Yeah.
He looked good out there. He was making some athletic moves, and he was definitely open more than he got the ball. I think
Then they looked his way.
that's why there was a few picks. They just weren't looking his way. So I think they will, down the stretch.
That's comforting. Your boy Darren Waller, I mentioned, number 7, not really living up to his ADP in the 2nd round, 3rd round.
Tough to say. Isn't he like
remember,
rank 3 right now overall?
7 right now.
This week.
Well, this week.
Yes.
This week.
It was a slow week
over.
for him. Yeah.
It was. But I just want to mention, remember last year he had some goose eggs.
Right.
And he still was the number 2 tight end on the year.
Yeah.
So don't fret. Don't be worried. Austin Hooper, number 12. Look at that. So if you didn't listen to us and you didn't draft a tight end fairly early, one of those top tiers, hopefully you can stream a guy like this, especially with Jarvis Landry going down. I don't think we mentioned that in our Hurt Locker. Yeah, so if you have to stream, you could do worse. But hopefully you took one early, because it sucks streaming. What do we got for limp players here, Ryan?
Well, we got, I would say George Kittle right now. 6 points, tight end 21. Just another guy who's just not meeting his expectations by any means. Last week he had an okay week, but again, he's not in the top 3 or 4 of tight ends, which is where we predicted him to be, which is where everybody predicted him to be. So George Kittle is at the top of that list for me.
Yeah, makes sense.
Who's next for you, Mac?
Higbee really burned me, and I knew this was going to happen because it's going to be a trend. It'll be 5 games in a row where he's going to suck. You're going to end up streaming, and then he's going to go off. So I got to crunch some numbers, try to figure out what kind of defenses they need to face for him to go off. So I'll have to get back to you guys on that. But yeah, you got anybody you want to touch on here, Kyle? Any limp guys you want to touch?
I guess for me, the only guy I was high on was Hunter Henry. Besides Gronk and Waller, but Hunter Henry just not showing up yet. Not a big part of the offense yet.
Only 2 receptions off of 4 targets, so I'm a little surprised at that as well.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I think I was gonna get him in my rough, but you saved us time there. Anybody on the fairway here, Ryan? You want to talk about?
Fairway for me, Kyle Pitts. Pretty good performance this week. I had him preseason ranked 7. So fairway is in like my projections. I'm hoping that that's probably where he ends up. I'm not sure if he's going to be a tight end 5 this year. I've been very consistent with that from the beginning. So last week, I think he was like tight end 15 or 16. This week, tight end 6, 5 catches, 73 yards. I just see he's probably going to be inconsistent like that. He'll probably be tight end 3 or 4 some weeks and be tight end, 16, 17, 18 other weeks, all dependent on that Falcons offense. So we will see. Seems to be on track though right now for.
Yeah, I mean, he looked good. He looked good. He looked fast off the line. They're putting him in motion a lot, so he's not a traditional tight end. I think he'll pick it up. We'll see. But number 7, can't complain. Noah Fant, he was ranked number 5. He had 13 points. I was saying, hey, with Jerry Jeudy down, they're going to need him to step up. And, I mean, it's not 12 points isn't that grand, but it's the tight end slot. So you're looking for double-digit points.
I think I need to see Fant play somebody besides Jacksonville or the Giants, and then I'll be more
and then
of a Fant guy.
We'll be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. All right. So, what do we got? The rough? Sorry, I lost my spot. Rough, you already kind of touched on, or you want to talk about Everett?
No, I think I had Noah Fant in my rough because I have him tight end 18 on the year. So my projection of him being that low is probably going to be off. I'm pretty sure about that. I'm fairly confident Noah Fant ends up in the top 10 this year.
Okay.
At this point.
I forget where my rankings were at, but I wasn't too high on him either because I thought Jerry Jeudy would be out there with him. So, but yeah, things change. Seasons change. Do you guys know? Get into our leftovers now. We're less than 100 days away from Christmas. Just to ruin your night.
It's disgusting.
It is. I think it is anyway. I gotta do the math on that.
Thought you were going to go into the autumnal equinox or whatever you call it coming up here. No? 2 days. What's it? 2 days from fall? I don't know. 2 days from fall.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was freaking
changing seasons. We're right there.
Morning. I know.
I wore pants for the first time like a week ago. So
I should have. I didn't, but I should have had a hoodie. What was wrong?
Is that when fall officially starts? So it's just
yeah, when the
take away dates.
When you park
the
cargo shorts away and the jorts, you gotta call it. Summer's over.
Jorts, man.
Yeah.
Coming back a little bit.
Cutoffs only though. You not like the proper ones. The cutoffs only. Your balls hang out a little bit,
Ryan, remember in high school when we were on the grids? You know where I'm going with this. We played.
Where are we going right now? Yeah, go ahead.
LePage coming up, our coach. Look at the leaves changing. Oh, season's changing, but you know what that means? It's the color of death. It's like the leaves are dying. Like, get on the line, blows the whistle. The guy was crazy.
Yeah, he was. Yes.
All right. If you, for some reason, made it to the end of this episode, we want to send our appreciation to you guys. Go ahead and slide in our DMs. I think we were talking to Jordan on Facebook there, asking for some lineup questions. So good luck to you. Hopefully you got your win this weekend. Appreciate you reaching out, man.
He did not.
He did not?
No, he went against Henry, Lockett, and Brady, so he was burned pretty hard.
Oh man,
there's no lineup that can fix that.
No, we can only do so much. Our tips can only go so far.
Yeah,
they were pretty good tips though. Mike Williams over Julio Jones and T. Higgins, that landed, and Elijah who did we say? It was somebody over Robinson Oh, Tyson Williams over Robinson, which I think also happened. So
That's somebody we got to get into. James Robinson. I'll have to get into the next episode. We got way too long right now. Yeah. But yeah, you guys got anything more for the leftovers?
all I have to say is Outer Banks is heating up. Season 2, baby. Lots of drama and gold.
Okay. Gold. Okay.
It's one of the worst shows I've watched, but you got to keep watching it.
No, you do not.
You do.
Life is too short. Life is too short. If anybody is out there interested in becoming a co-host, let us know. Kyle and I are looking. Regan's too busy, and Riot is bringing on Junk TV.
Yeah.
So
Teen Bop shows.
Been cut.
Kyle,
All right.
Kyle, you got anything?
I guess a fun fact for the week: all 3 hosts this week were offensive linemen for the same school. So,
Look at
bang!
that.
Look at
Nice.
us. Yeah.
Nice.
Although some of us don't look like it. Ryan. He was thick.
Yeah, I
back
look a
in the
little
day.
bit different
He was
in my
thick.
playing days. Yeah, that's for sure. So
Senior year, I was 270, and the next biggest kid was under 200 on the line. So, well, our next biggest kid was our quarterback.
Yeah, he was pretty fat.
Like,
what are you, I was 220 our senior year.
You were
What
not
are you
220.
talking about?
You were
I
not
was.
you
I was
lost weight.
220. No, we'll talk about this later. I was 220 senior year. I bulked up. I got slow.
Calling
You had
it.
a fat ass. You had a fat ass, though.
Sure did.
You know where you got that from.
Your mom.
Well, Dak, here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence.